Hey everyone, hey, so this is going to be an unofficial episode of Dead Rabbit Radio. I have some important news to tell you and a ghost story as well that happened to me recently. So let's go ahead and get this ball rolling. I guess we'll use I guess we'll go ahead and do the intro music. I don't know how long this is going to be. Dun 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 dun. I do the whole song. I do the whole 3-minute song. Hey guys, I gotta share some news with you real quick. We'll do this ghost story and then we're gonna wrap it up. My computer's on its last legs. The computer that I've been using to record Dead Rabbit Radio on for the past couple years literally glitched out while I was trying to record tonight's episode. And it glitched out in such a bizarre way. I almost wish we had the audio. It sucked. What happened was, this is part of the ghost story. I was recording tonight's episode. And as I was talking about it, I was doing the intro, I was doing some news drops, things like that. I heard a beep. And I ignored it the first time, and I ignored it the second time. It was coming from my left shoulder. And then finally I said, "What's that beeping noise?" And then I turn and I look, and there's just silence in the recording. And I go, okay, well. And I get back to recording. And I'm talking for another couple minutes, and then I hear the beep again, and I go, what is that noise? I could not figure out what the beeping noise was. This all happened like 7 minutes ago from recording this. Well, I'm starting to think, it sounds like when your phone is either plugged in to charge or when you unplug it to charge. That's what the tone reminded me of. So I looked over to my phone bank, because I have a couple different phones. I have my personal phone, then I have a burner phone. The number changes every month. I look over at my phones and I see that my recording has stopped. And it stopped like 6 minutes previous to when I noticed it. And at that point, because here's the thing, I have it on mute when I'm recording, otherwise I would hear this crazy echo. And I usually don't look at the actual waveform. As I'm recording, I looked over. I had been talking for probably 8 to 10 minutes, and it said that only a minute had been captured. I was like, oh no. And I looked at the screen. I cleared out. I had a web page up, and I looked at it, and it said this program is fighting with other processes for RAM, for memory, so we're not going to let you do it. Now, here's what's crazy. I almost never look at my waveform. Except after I've been talking for such a long time, I go, oh my God, how long is this? How long have I been droning on about this? And I'll look over and it's 55 minutes. Okay, I gotta wrap it up. You'll hear me in some episodes say, hey, I don't have a lot of time, I gotta wrap it up. It's because I just turned and looked at the waveform. I wanted to check to see how long I'd been recording. I look over, I'd been talking for 8 to 10 minutes and only said a minute and a half had been recorded. There was a chance that I would have talked for an hour and then looked and saw that a minute was only recorded. This is the crazy thing. My computer, it's muted. I can't hear anything coming out of the computer, even chirps or alarms or anything like that. The beeping sound that got my attention in the first place to look around and figure out where the beeping sound has come from, it hasn't happened a single time while I've been recording this. And yet the beeping sound could have not have come from my computer because it's muted. It shouldn't send off any alerts. So I mean, I'll be honest, talk about a guardian angel in a moment. Because I'm recording this at 8 p.m. It has to be ready to go by 7 a.m. the next morning. So really, I was like, I'm going to record from 8 to 9. It's going to take me 2 hours, 2.5 hours to edit it. So I was thinking, I'm going to be going to bed around midnight, 12:30, or wake up early and finish editing it. So if I had talked for an hour, it would have completely thrown everything off. But here's the thing, in a way it did throw everything off. I just didn't spend an hour talking and going, wow, man, that sure was a great episode, Jason. Lots of jokes. And then realizing it all disappeared. So here's the thing. This computer has been on its last leg for a while. And I have bought a new computer recently, and I just have it stored away. I'm not using it. I'm saying all of this stuff to say a couple things. One, There's not going to be any more episodes this week because I'm going to have to work on getting this new computer set up with the Audacity program and the right settings and everything like that. Getting the mic set up and all of that. Jason, that only takes like a half hour. I know. Doesn't take a lot of time. But here's the thing, just the stress of it. Secondly, and I know that on Monday's episode I said 4 episodes a week, I could do this forever. I feel like I'm just hitting a wall. I feel like I really just hit a wall. And I think the sooner I go to 3 episodes, the better. I never liked this show. Sometimes this show feels like eating while on a full stomach. There have been times where I've sat down to record an episode. It doesn't happen all the time, but it's happened more than I'm comfortable with. I'm getting ready to record an episode, or I'm just thinking about recording that day's episode, and it makes me sick to my stomach. Because I get burned out, or I'm really tired, recording from 8 to 9 and then editing for another 2.5 hours. It just really wears you down. So starting next week, we're going to go to 3 episodes a week. I just have a ton of stuff. I've been telling you guys I'm doing this remodel, and it's actually, what's the opposite of a remodel? I guess it's just a model. But what's the opposite of a model? Destruction. My place is trashed right now. Your place is always trash. Don't blame it on this. No, I got boxes of IKEA furniture leaning on boxes, empty boxes. You're like, throw those away. I know. But it's like, I got to move a bunch of stuff around. And what's happening is I'm coming home from work. I'm eating dinner. I take a nap, which, okay, I'm sure I could cut the nap out, but I'm tired. I'm a tired guy. I come home, I eat dinner, I take a nap. How old are you, Jason? And then I work on the show, right? I record an episode from 6 to 7 or from 7 to 8 if I'm lucky, sometimes 8 to 9. And then for the next 5 hours, I'm doing the show. So all that being said, we're going to go to 3 episodes starting next week. This week only gets 2 episodes. Well, I'm about to tell you a ghost story, too. That first story, I might be a little paranormal, too. Because that beep has not happened a single time. And it really, I don't know what I would have done. Honestly, mentally. I wouldn't have gone insane. Right? I'm all, the time code is wrong, pulling my hair out. But you know what I mean? It'd be so defeating to already be struggling getting the show out and then realize I talked for 55 minutes and only a minute of it was captured. So whatever was causing that noise, and it wasn't the computer. I know it wasn't the computer. Even the error that was up wouldn't cause a beep every couple seconds to get my attention. And it also wouldn't sound like a beep on the left side of my shoulder. So we're going to 3 episodes next week, and that will give me time to get my dresser set up. And that means I can buy my desk and get all this stuff and start doing other things that are Dead Rabbit Radio related. I still have these video projects I want to do. We're going to be doing some really cool stuff, but I just need time to breathe right now and work, physically move stuff around. That all being said, I want to make a couple more announcements. I hope you guys are enjoying this. So you're like, well, we were until you said you're cutting the episodes down early. I know. I want to say this. I've gotten a lot of emails from you guys that episodes are missing from Spotify and Apple. That is not me. I'm not putting episodes behind a paywall. I'm not removing episodes. In fact, I'm doing the opposite. I'll tell you about that in a second. But right now there's a glitch with the podcast provider I go through, Libsyn, and they're really good, but any company, any program is going to have glitches. So on any given day, it'll only show the past 1,000 episodes or it'll only show the past 500 episodes. So that's what's causing that, and they've been working really hard to get it fixed. They've been working on it for about a week and a half. Don't worry about that. They will come back at some point, but I want to tell you guys this. If this stuff happens, you can listen to probably 95% of the show on YouTube. You can listen to 100% on the show. You can listen to 100% of the show on deadrabbitradio.com. We'll take you right to the website and you can click play and it'll play the episode in your web browser. But if you go, I don't really want to use YouTube because if you close the window on your phone, it shuts off, or I don't want to use the website because I want it to be portable. I've been doing this for a couple weeks, and I guess I've never really mentioned it, but I'll let you guys know now. In the show notes of the episodes for probably the past couple weeks and going forward, there is a link to the Wayback Machine. You can download and listen to every single episode of Dead Rabbit Radio from episode 1 to episode 1400. Every 100 episodes, so I'll be doing another upload shortly, but every 100 episodes I upload to the archive, and they are there. And it's for reasons like the Libsyn glitch. It is reasons for this podcast glitch. The reason why I did it is stuff like the podcast glitch. Or if something happened to me, if I die, as long as people are donating money to the Patreon, the website, the podcast will still be up on the podcast apps. The money just kind of goes back into this account where they can pull the money out. But if everyone cancels the Patreon because I'm dead, donating money to a dead man, all of the past work we've all done together, you and me, is saved in the Wayback Machine. And that link is there. I actually think, is it the Wayback Machine? It might be the Internet Archive. It's one of the two. But anyways, the link is there. So if something happened to me, you can always get those episodes. They'll always be able to be found there. And I upload them in 100 episode increments. So I haven't uploaded the last 100. But yeah, so if you do want it portable, you can download those right to your phone and delete them. 2 more things I want to talk about, then I'll tell you this ghost story. Now I'm super paranoid. I keep looking over at my computer. Nope, no weird noise, and we're still recording. Thank you, Weird Noise, who helped me out. We're going to 3 episodes a week starting next week. I think that what we're going to do, a lot of you guys gave me feedback, and this one I was actually surprised this was the most popular choice. We're going to do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday episodes. So they're going to be right in a row, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. What I'm going to do in the beginning is we're going to have Retro Rabbits on Monday and Friday. But those are going to be deleted within a week. So it's not going to clog up your feed. If you don't listen to it a while, you'll scroll through them and you won't even see the Retro Rabbits if you look at past episodes. But people still have told me, we like some of the retro stuff. We like it to kind of fill out the week. So I'll do Retro Rabbit on Monday, new episode Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Retro Rabbit on Friday. And then by next week, I will have deleted those past Retro Rabbits. So they're not clogging up the feed. It makes it easier for you to scroll. They're only there for that week if you need some extra Dead Rabbit Radio. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday was what a lot of you guys wanted. And we'll try it. I think that could totally work well with me as well. What was the other thing? Oh, yeah. I know it's a bunch of news drop, but we do have a ghost story. You're like, Jason, better one hell of a good ghost story. It's weird. I don't know how good it is, but it is interesting. I've been talking a lot about it, and we're finally pulling the trigger on it. And I'll be making all these announcements in future episodes as well, because not everyone listens to these little bonus pieces. But what we're going to do is we're going to have another Dead Rabbit Radio movie night, October 17th, 2025. It'll be 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where we will be watching a bunch of short horror films. It's always a blast, and I love it when you guys come out to it. And then, the very next morning, October 18th, for our international listeners and those of you who can't make a Friday night, we're going to have a Dead Rabbit Radio movie morning. That's going to be 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So, that should be good for, I know that's still like 3 in the morning to some people, but we're going to do that. So we're going to have Dead Rabbit Radio movie night on the 17th at 7 p.m. And we're going to have Dead Rabbit Radio movie morning on the 18th at 9 a.m. And they're going to be different short films. Because I don't want to just go, hey, we watched all these cool ones last night. You guys watched these this morning. If something's really good, if it really stands out, we'll show it to both. But it's going to be brand new movies pretty much for both groups. And I think that'll be a lot of fun. I've gotten a lot of feedback from you guys internationally. You want to be able to attend the Dead Rabbit Radio Movie Club. So that's what we're going to do. I think it'll be awesome. We're going to have one on the 17th, one on the 18th. And I'll be putting all this stuff in the show notes and announcing it more as we get closer. Okay, is that all the news? I think that's all the news that we got to talk about. So here's this crazy ghost story. The other night, this would have been Friday night? Yeah, it was Friday night. It was Friday night. The day before my birthday, October 3rd. I was spending the night at Sabine's house. My friend Sabine. Now, she went to bed, and I was like, I'm going to stay up till midnight. So I'm going to stay up till midnight. I actually stayed up till like 3 in the morning, but, I'm staying up. It's the weekend. Plus, it's my birthday. And to treat myself for my birthday, I had bought a bunch of Magic the Gathering cards, the Spider-Man collection, the new Spider-Man cards, because I'm a big Spider-Man fan. And I had competed in the closed tournament, or whatever it's called, the opening night tournament of the Spider-Man Magic set. I did pretty good. I came in second. Came in second out of 5 people, but I still did pretty good. So I brought all my magic cards over to Sabine's house, and we've talked a lot about Sabine's house on this show. It's haunted. I've had ghostly encounters there. She's had ghostly encounters there. Things like hearing people walking around the house is super common. The sound of doors opening is super common. Sometimes you just get like a creepy vibe, but I think that's just me. I'm just a big scaredy cat. So I'll put some episodes about Sabine's house in the show notes so you can listen to those guys. Sabine doesn't really even believe in the supernatural, but she's also not a dummy. You kind of have, if your house is haunted, you kind of have to accept it after you've ruled everything out. She's lived there for decades. So, I've also talked about Sabine's house because we're having a problem with the local cats and the raccoons. So there are some cats in the area that are neighbor cats, and they just come over and like to eat cat food. Sabine's cat Jenny had died last year, died in December. So you still have that cat-shaped hole in your body. So we've been feeding the local cats. And they've always been welcome over there because a lot of them are friends of Jenny as well. But, there's a couple strays that come through the area. There's Harriet, who has like a huge gash along her face. She looks like a battle-scarred veteran of a million cat wars. Super nice cat, though. And then there's Scaredy Cat, is what we call him, because he's terrified. He's always terrified. He just sits in the corner of the yard and just waits for us to put food out. And then he won't eat it. And then we have to leave, and he won't eat it. Then once he thinks we're gone, he walks over slowly and starts eating it. And the second one of us gets up to go grab a soda or to go grab a kitchen knife or whatever, Scaredy Cat runs back into the corner and just stares at us with big eyes, saying, Don't scare me. Don't scare me. We're like, we're not scaring you. As I'm yelling, I was like, I'll never scare you again. Get out of here. You have to be brave to eat here. You have to be a big boy. Anyway, so we have all these cats coming by, but the problem is we also have raccoons. A lot of these cats come by at night to eat the food, but there's been a gang of raccoons showing up and they are eating the food instead. So when I stay over, I leave the back patio door open because these strays will come into the house. Scaredy Cat doesn't come in often, but the other stray cats will walk in, they'll eat a bunch of food, and then leave. There's just stray cats wandering on in. But the raccoons want to come in too. The raccoons have tried to come in a couple times. They have breached the premises before, and it's always insane. You basically wake up, there's a bunch of raccoons in your living room. So I'm sitting up one night, and the raccoons tried coming in, and I was like yelling at them, and they ran away. And then they tried getting back in, and I had to yell at them more, and they ran away. This is kind of common. So Friday night, I'm up late, and I usually am watching a movie and doing research for the show, and the way I'm positioned is I can kind of look over and see that a raccoon is trying to get in because the sliding glass door is open, and the screen is all torn up because the giant cats just made a hole through it. Usually I'll be watching a movie and I'll just have one headphone on, and I'll turn and I'll look every once in a while, and I'll see a raccoon trying to poke his head in. I go, get out of here. He runs away. But the other night I was so engrossed in my magic cards because, I'm reading like the tiny print. And I'm like, ooh, that's a cool card. Oh, yeah, Doc Ox Henchman. Oh, yeah. Because I try to make a collection of them. I don't really have anyone to play with. But I like magic. So I try to collect one of each set. And, you're like, Jason, isn't there a $65,000 Spider-Man magic card? Yeah, I don't. Yeah, sometimes I have to let a certain card go. But for the most part, I try to get one of each set. And then I have a binder of just my favorite cards. Either the artwork's cool, or the quote is cool, or it's good. It's a good card. I used it personally on opening night. So I'll be looking at cards thinking, is this one I already have? Is this one that's really cool, that speaks to me in some way? Put it in different binders, and I have these checklists that I scratch off, stuff like that. So I was really, really engrossed in what I was doing. I did have just the one headphone on, but I'm focused on these magic cards. And that's when I hear behind me one of the bedroom doors open up. And trust me, it's a spooky door opening up sound. When I sit down to where I sit to do all my stuff, whether I'm watching a movie, doing research, or organizing magic cards, I sit with my back to one of the bedrooms. I find the whole place creepy. The second the sun goes down, it's very unsettling to me. I have to walk around the house with a flashlight when I'm shutting the lights off and then going to bed. But the bedroom right behind me, I shut the door. It's super scary. So I always shut that bedroom door, and I did the same thing this night. I shut that bedroom door, then I went to the table, and I start organizing all my stuff. So at this point, maybe it's like 1 or 2 in the morning, and I hear a... And I know exactly what it is, right? There's no mistaking the sound of a spooky door opening. And I spin around, and I look, and I'm watching the door open, and I'm like, oh. Like, what's going to happen now? Like, that door was shut. The windows are all closed because I'm trying to keep the heat in because it's getting cold out. There's no breeze to open that door. And I turn and I look, and I'm like waiting for something. And then I turn my head back, and there's a raccoon walking into the house. And I didn't see him. I was so engrossed in my magic cards that I did not notice this raccoon walking in. Now, this guy was bold. Not to just walk in while there was clearly someone sitting there, maybe like 6 feet away. But when I stood up, he didn't run away. He slowly backed out. He's still watching me. He's kind of doing this backwards thing. He goes outside, and now he's outside the broken screen door. And I'm standing up, and I'm trying not to yell to, scare Sabine. She's asleep. I stand up. I'm the biggest thing this raccoon has ever seen. I mean, outside of a garbage truck, definitely the biggest living thing it's ever seen. I stand up, and it walked backwards and then went outside the house, and then he stood up. And I go, okay, he wants a fight. This guy is not scared by me. So I kept walking forward, and the raccoon is just standing up, and then I noticed there's another raccoon in the darkness behind him. And I go, uh-oh. Like, they're ready. They came to fight. The food that we had, because there was a little bowl of cat food inside the house near where I am, they were willing to go toe-to-toe to get that food. And I'm standing there, and this raccoon dude's standing there, and his partner's kind of lurking around in the darkness. And I got closer to it. I'm walking closer to it, and he's not backing down. That raccoon is ready to fight. So I just grabbed the glass door and went, dude, and slid it shut. And then walked back to my chair, and I looked, and he's still standing there, and he kind of gets down on all fours, and they're kind of milling around in the back for a bit till they left. But I would not have known that those raccoons were there had that door not opened. And as bold as that guy was, he would have walked right up to that cat food, and if I had stood up then, we would have fought. We would have fought at that point. Because he wasn't willing to back down. He was not willing to back down. He knew he had backup. He'd probably been scoping the place out. For a while and go, that guy's not paying attention. He was probably out there for a minute and saw that I didn't notice him, and he figures I could just come in. I do remember I had a broom. I was like, I'm going to use this broom, and I had picked the broom up, so even with the broom, he wasn't intimidated. Sabine goes, a broom? What? Raccoon? What are you going to do with the broom? I go, I did him. She goes, you need a snow shovel. These things are battle hardened. They're raccoons. They fight everything. But even me standing up with the broom, walking towards him, I remember, I was kind of making jabbing motions with the broom towards him. He did not back down. He was standing up. He wanted that food. So if that door had not opened on its own, that raccoon would have walked right up to me and started eating that cat food. And then I probably would have panicked and we would have fought. Really, really bizarre. And after that all happened, I went I went and I shut that bedroom door because I'm still going to be up for a while working on my magic cards. I really do believe that whatever is in that house was warning me that something was going to happen. It's funny because usually I can spot the raccoons right away because my head's kind of on a swivel when I'm watching a movie or when I'm reading. Usually do both at the same time. But I was so engrossed by those magic cards. This was the first, I bought a whole box of them, right? I had a box and then I had the bundle and then I had the cards that I had got on tournament night. So I had hundreds of cards to go through and I had all my checklists and multiple binders and stuff. Whatever was in that house was probably going, dude, what are you doing? There's a raccoon. There's a raccoon coming. He's been staring at you. He's bringing backup. And I imagine whatever was there was hoping to get my attention somehow. A light breeze on my ear. A tickle down the back of my spine. Probably tried a couple different subtle things. And I'm just still like, wow, hobgoblin. Well, this is a rare. It's not a rare, actually. I think hobgoblin is a common or an uncommon. But my point is that I'm sure that it thought I would catch the raccoon. I would see the raccoon before things got bad. But once the raccoon was in the house, the ghost or whatever is there was like, dude, I gotta totally get this guy's attention. What is he most afraid of? Oh yeah, everything. But especially the sound of spooky doors. And it opened the door. And I told Sabine that whole story the next morning. She goes, so it opened the door so you would pay attention to the raccoon? I go, yeah, pretty much. And it's interesting because that just happened now. That really did just happen now. That beeping has not happened since I've started recording this. And that beeping was coming over my left shoulder. I was actually looking at my internet router. I go, is there something wrong with my internet? Is there something going on? So did you hear that? That was my phone beeping. And that came from the right side of my house. And I immediately turned and I looked right and I go, okay, that's my phone. My computer's on the right side of me. But the sound was coming from my left shoulder. And with the computer muted and the error message it had, it just said, we're going to stop recording. It wasn't like a repeating message. It said, recording's done. Too much stuff is fighting for control of this laptop. And I did have a bunch of tabs open, because I'm always reading something. Tons of different articles. But, yeah, I think I'm still going to use this computer to do a lot of research. It's going to be my travel computer. I'm not getting rid of it. It's been a good computer, but it's mostly at this point just going to be for reading rather than recording. That'll do, pig. That'll do. You've earned a rest, my friend. So, yeah, that is my crazy ghost story, which in a way may have just been replicated tonight. Both of these things have been very helpful to me. The beeping noise I still would have been recording that first episode and been like, oh, because it's two really cool stories. These are stories that I've wanted to cover for a while. We'll do them on Tuesday's episode. We're going to have episodes Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But it's a story about punishment in Iran. We know in some countries, like I think it's Saudi Arabia, I don't know if they still do this, but they cut your hand off if you're caught stealing. And I don't know if they still do that, but something that happens in Iran is they do this thing. It's basically an eye for an eye, which we're all familiar with. But they take it literally. So we're going to look at a couple cases where people have been blinded in the commission of a crime. And then the criminal who blinded the victim gets sentenced to have their own eyes cut out or have acid pour on their eyeballs. You're like, Jason, I don't want to hear that. Sounds terrifying. I'm glad your computer stopped recording. And then we have a second story. That episode, it's going to be about a group of people who have figured out the perfect intersection, the perfect Venn diagram of law of attraction and gooning. So you'll have to wait. That sounds... Talk about tonal whiplash. You're like, and then the criminal can no longer see. Let's talk about gooners. Yeah, it was actually going to be a really cool segment. I think both the stories are really interesting. So, really interesting stories. But it didn't work. So we're going to save that for next week. We got a lot of cool stuff coming up as well. I think with the 3 episodes, I personally never feel like I've put out filler episodes. There have been times where I go, I don't know if this story is super strong. But then when I record it, I go, okay, it all came together. I think that was actually an entertaining story. But there are times where I've recorded stories and I go, this doesn't work. This isn't any interesting. I've had to throw that story away. I don't think I've had any episode that I thought was total filler. Or even a lot of stories that were filler. But the thing about going to 3 episodes a week, I can see the stories becoming more cohesive. I think we'll probably do more specials too, like a Halloween special, things like that. Things that I've wanted to do in the past, but I just have never had time to do. We're going to be doing a lot of video stuff, a lot of true crime stuff on YouTube and TikTok if you're into that. And just a lot of great stuff in general. On the Ground Ghost Hunts is on the table. Learning how to do video editing. All sorts of crazy stuff. Because I find crazy videos all the time. But I can't really share them on an audio podcast. So I imagine every so often there'll be a YouTube video where it's a bunch of these clips that I found and then talking about them. It's not just going to be like a selection of clips. Like, so what is this? What does this mean? I'm like, I don't know. The next clip. Some spooky door opens up. I don't know what caused it. No, I'm really excited about the future of Dead Rabbit Radio. I really am. I'm sorry that it came so abruptly, this 3 episodes. I wanted to kind of work into it, but I mean, if you saw my place right now, you would be in shock. Or maybe not. Maybe you'd go, this is exactly how I pictured it, Jason. But whatever the case, we'll be getting this stuff cleaned up and be getting the new stuff coming out, the new videos. I don't know when they're going to start, to be honest. The true crime TikToks are going to roll out pretty quickly, but a lot of good stuff, Well, this was kind of a weird bonus episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I had a lot of news I needed to tell you. I'm very thankful my computer did not break down at all during this. So, you guys, we're going to wrap this up here. I hope you guys have a really good night. I hope you guys have a really good weekend. We'll be back next week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is going to be the new recording schedule. Is going to be the new release schedule, and we'll see how that works. I think it'll be great. We'll see how it works for you guys. If enough people want Monday, Wednesday, Friday, then we'll talk about that as well. But Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday seemed to win the vote, and I was actually surprised by that. But I want to do what's going to work for you guys. I can wiggle stuff around on my end, but what's going to work for you guys is my main concern. So that's why I feel bad that we're doing this, but that's just where we're at. I want Dead Rabbit Radio to go on for years, not months. And it was just getting to be too much. But I have a bright vision of Dead Rabbit Radio's future. Using a little bit of law of attraction, not the gooning part, but a little bit of the law of attraction. I see a long future ahead for Dead Rabbit Radio and the Fluffle. DeadRabbitRadio@gmail.com is going to be our email address. You can also hit us up at Facebook.com/DeadRabbitRadio. TikTok is @DeadRabbitRadio. Dead Rabbit Radio is the daily. I think we're still going to keep that name for a while, just for nostalgic purposes. Dead Rabbit Radio is the daily paranormal, conspiracy, and true crime podcast. You don't have to listen to it every day, but I'm so glad you listened today. Have a great one, guys.